those of us that are in the know, and when I say those of us that are in the know, I do not mean N-O. I mean the K-N-O-W. We know, and we have known for quite some time that we're in trouble. We're in literal trouble. Think about this for a second. The president flies all the way back from Hawaii to so-called do something about this physical tax problem that's getting ready to come up. You know, we got a physical problem coming up here, and we got to do something. Did he do anything? How much money did that cost the taxpayer for him to fly from Hawaii back to Washington, then back to Hawaii again? How much money did it cost for him to have an inaugural ball? I guarantee it's in between $5 and $10 million. Do you think that these people are worried about the economy? They haven't never been worried about the economy. They was not worried about the economy 20 years ago, and they definitely not worried about the economy today. You know the reason why? Because there is a new world order agenda on hand, whether you like it or not. You can call it conspiracy theory. You can be pessimistic. You can call it whatever you want, But the bottom line is when we are sitting here staring at the facts, looking at our face, hey, there's no more of us kicking the can of hope down the road, thinking that these things are going to change when we're continually keep on seeing the proverbial frog in the bucket keep on heating up, and things are getting worse. And you know what? Your pocketbook is reflecting it. Retirement age. And you know what? I tell you what, let me call this segment, What Is Gonna Happen? And you can take this as prophecy, whatever you want, but it's the same thing I've been saying for years and years and years and years. They're gonna raise retirement age to 70 plus years old. Watch and see. You know the reason why? Because they don't want to continue to keep paying out. They have been dipping in the kitty of Social Security ever since 1960. And it's bankrupt itself. That's the reason why they keep having you to pay more taxes, to keep raising them, to keep funding it, because they have been dipping in the kitty. I told you, you know a politician is lying when their mouth is moving. You know that. So raising the taxes is not the solution. Never has been, never will be. All they're raising the taxes is going to do is piss a lot of people off. That's all it's going to do. Of course, again, fluoride, vaccinations, no fight in us whatsoever at all. It makes no difference. Makes no difference at all. The problem is that these crack addicts up in Washington has a spending problem. That's the problem. And they're bad about it. And they're addicted to it. And they can't stop it. And so them politically getting up here grandstanding on these news sources, making you think, or you sitting on the edge of your seat, hinging on every word as if they're going to change. From one president after the other president, after the next president, nothing but lies. From one Congress after the next Congress, after the next Congress, nothing but lies. From one senator after the next senator, after the next senator, nothing but lies. They are all liars. Every single one of them. We have created so many federal agencies in the last 10 years, and we wonder why our economy is tanking and sinking like the Titanic. And guess who funds those? You do. They turn around and give money to the banks, and the banks don't lend to you because this is a credit-based system. Do you understand? It can't function without debt because it's a credit-based system. The banks need to fail. Can you imagine that now we have adopted the doctrine, the mindset, and the attitude that you can become so big as a corporation, you can become so big as a bank that you're too big to fail. But yet as an individual, we don't hold them same truths to be evident for you and I. No. There's not going to be any Social Security for me. I already know that, and that's the reason why I live my life in such a way, planning on making moves right now, because making moves 20 years from now is not going to help me one bit. It's not going to help you. And hey, wait a minute. Did I say 20? Did I say 20? Let me go 25, 30 years from now, because by the time, if there is this system, which I doubt is going to be, this system is not going to be alive and floating. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to default way before then. But by the time, if there's any time, for me to so-called receive Social Security, hypothetical situation, just say it does happen, they by then had done kicked the age of receiving Social Security benefits to 75 and 80 years old, which you know just as well as I do, when they have all these genetically modified foods and they throw in all these chemicals, and then our government, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, actually is protected by the so-called lawmakers in this country to where they don't have to put on the labels of the food, what you're consuming into your body. Now, is that something wrong with me for getting on here and telling the unpopular truth? I know it hurts. I know that the FBI, the CIA, and all that, they watch every video I got. Maybe one of them will be able to wake up. But you know, when you're chemically induced and seduced, and when you're blinded to the facts, when you're totally blinded to the facts, and your reality is totally different, you have to understand, when you are jacking people, you have a total different outlook and a viewpoint than the people who have boots on the ground that are actually living in this earth right here. Because the rich think differently than the poor, and the poor thinks differently than the rich. When you have money in your pocket, you function different, you thinking different. When you don't have any money, you pinching every penny, you function different, you think different. The problem is we have lost our way. We become so arrogant, and we become so vindictive. We become so, let's go back to the word arrogant again. We become so arrogant that we forget who we are, what we are, and why we literally exist. So therefore, you know, we cannot see the forest for the trees, so therefore we keep repeating the same mistakes again and again and again. The problem is just exasperated. It keeps going. It keeps going, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There's no morality in this country. The morality in this country has went way, 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 way down. You know why? Because it's part of the agenda. They're grinding this country down. And of course, you got everybody that want to usurp every fleshly right and feed every fleshly lust that there is. The morality keeps on going down. I mean, it's just utterly amazing. Well, there's not going to be any reform to this system whatsoever. None. So, just like I always say, I'm not here to point out all the evils and all the injustices of this system without providing you any solutions. I'm going to give you some solutions. The solution is the same thing it always been. You cannot trust your government. Your government cannot produce anything. They can only take from you, and they do it. The law enforcement officials have forgotten that they swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States of America to defend you and to actually protect you and your person. And so now they've got an attitude to where in these schools, I don't know what they're doing. Maybe some of you police officers can chime in. But now they go to these police academies. They come out thinking they're some type of warriors. Never been in a military uniform, never had boots on the ground whatsoever, never been shot at, and don't even know what it feels like, most of them. But they come out rogue, and when you look at the way that they deal with you on a routine traffic stop, when you look and see the way that they look at you and deal with you, they got hatred in their eyes for you who pay their salaries. Last time I checked, police all the way across the board are supposed to be public servants. That means you are my servant, and I pay your paycheck, and you're there to make sure that you secure the person, not only myself, but other people from anybody who would make a threat against that. But this doctrine is all but changed. Look at how they treat the protesters in this country. They're beating the fire out of them. Beating the fire out of them. Every place but Arizona. Because in Arizona, the people show up with weapons locked and loaded. We're finished as a country. Your government is not going to help you. Don't look for them to help you. Start making your own way right now. Listen to me. You need to start, no matter how small, growing your own garden, and you need to be preparing your soil for that garden right now while it's in the wintertime. You need to start growing your own food for a bunch of reasons, but I'll give you two of them. Number one, so that you don't continue to notice a decline in your health year after year after year after year after year, because you're chemically induced and keep on putting all these foreign substances in your body. And number two, just to curb your grocery bill. I mean, stuff look good out there. I mean, it looks good. In some places it looks good. We choose to do the majority of our shopping at Kroger rather than Walmart, because Walmart is just putting a bunch of crap on the shelves. They don't care. It's all about the dollar, the bottom line. They pinch pennies like you've never believed in before in your life. But if you're going to buy any type of fruits and vegetables, you know, when you're in the live zone in the store, or you can't even trust Trader Joe's or any of these other organic, so-called organic companies, because they all have sold out to the big wigs. They have all sold out to Monsanto, every single one of them. So that's the reason why I tell you, no matter how painful, it's painful. It's a lot of work to grow a garden. It's a responsibility. But look at the benefits you will receive from it. Look at the benefits you will receive from it. Look at it. If you just get out there and do something. Of course, Americans, most of them are too lazy to do anything. We don't mind going everywhere. It's like when we have big meetings here. Every once in a while, I'll stop everybody and I'll say, hey, y'all like that food? Mm-hmm. Tastes good. Oh, I never tasted nothing like it before in my life, Pastor. It actually has taste to it. I said, there's something. Somebody had to till the soil. Somebody had to make sure it's weeded. Somebody had to keep up with the upkeep of it. Somebody had to harvest it. Somebody had to bring it into the dining hall and process it. Somebody had to cook it. And then by the time you get to it, you come in here, you set your feet up under the table, you enjoy the labors of what everybody else has done. And because you're used to doing that, when you go to restaurants and other places and stuff, you leave out of there thinking it was owed to you, and you have no idea. No idea. Nor does it enter into your mind when you put your foot under the table what all has went into that food you just got finished eating, especially here at Straightway. Think about that for a moment. Your mindset would change if you had to be the one to till the soil. Your mindset would change if you would have to be the one to feed the chickens. Your mindset would change if you had to be the one to actually go harvest everything. Your mindset would change if you had to be the one to come and actually assist in helping preparing the food and cooking it. And your mindset would change if you had to be the one to get out here and actually put it up on the table and serve it. That's why I'm utterly appalled and amazed when you get people, especially people who come when I have meetings and stuff, and you got all these sisters, and some of them sit around as if they're sitting at Ruby Tuesdays or some cafe and stuff, and act like there ain't work to be done. And you got all these sisters who all this year did all this preparation and stuff, and you come and sit down and act like there ain't nothing to do. Utterly amazing. That's the reason why a lot of people have a lot of respect for me, because I talk the truth. I tell the truth straightway, and I don't pull no punches. I'm not lurking around corners. I'm not ducking and dodging the real issues. I'm telling it just like it is. And some of us need to be talked to like this in order to stimulate thought. If thought can be stimulated, since we've had every receptor in our brain almost burnt out because of all the chemicals we consuming on an unprecedented scale in this country. Take this to the bank. Your taxes will be raised again because we're bankrupt as a country. We cannot play this debt off. It just cannot be paid, period. Mortgage rates have got to go down. Everything's got to go down. It's all there's to it. The only way this system can be reformed, it needs a total reset. We need to get rid of the president. We need to do a house cleaning of all the Congress and all the Senate and put people in office. Now, I don't want to be a part of that office. I'm a pastor. But I got to speak to you, because your bootlicking, jack-leg dogs of so-called preachers, they're not telling you what I'm telling. They're not preparing you either. They gonna talk to you about a 7 steps to a better you, and you ain't getting no better as long as you got all these other external things pushing on you. And when you're trying to do things to get better, things continually keep getting worse, and nobody ain't gonna speak to the problem because they want you to continue to keep on paying your tithes, and you get no benefit out of it whatsoever. This system is not going to be formed. When they outsourced everything, do GAFTA, CAPTA, and NAFTA, another one of these ABC alphabet Fruit Loop situations that we're dealing with again. This is a global agenda. And you got to wake up and see it. So start preparing your own way. Opt out of the system. And the way you start by opting out of the system is changing this thing right here from the way it has been programmed to function. You've been programmed to think a certain way, and you got to stop that nonsense in order to change. You need to go back, revisit what the Bible says, because you've been lied to about everything in the religion of Christianity according to what that Bible says. If you don't believe me, I dare you to go check it out. Go and check out your government and see if they're telling the truth, because you've been lied to about everything. Matter of fact, what haven't you been lied to about? What happened? And why is it that when somebody comes on here, says something that is against our conscience, the way we've been programmed, why do we get so mad and upset? Why do we get so mad and upset at a man like me who have told you the truth? I didn't lie to you. I didn't lie to you at all. You need to get angry. You need to get upset to the point to where you start doing something about it. Me, myself, and I'm, hey, simple man. But I can see the forest for the trees. Man, I'm getting out of this mess, because if I don't get out of this mess, I'm not going to be able to preserve my dinner table nor those that hear me. No, I mean, it's crazy what's going on. I can barely, talking about spiritual warfare, when you go to this website right here, this online-church.org, every Saturday at 11 o'clock, I'm preaching and teaching right here. And I'm a different pastor than what you're accustomed to. We're going to get to the nitty-gritty of things. We're going to tell you about what's going on in his heart. But at the same time, you will notice there's improvement if you can stomach the message. If you can stomach the message. And then straightwaytruth.com is my main ministry website. But I can tell you what, I talk differently than these other pastors and preachers and teachers. I do. But I do know this. People's lives are being improved. And they're making their own way. I got people who live in the city that are growing gardens. And you tell me you can't do it. And they're happy to see that when they put their hands to something, it brings a satisfaction. You've got to change. You better change, because if you keep on depending upon government to do everything for you, you're going to wait for things to get so bad, so worse. Next thing you know, you're going to be marched right off into a FEMA camp. The news media, cut that junk and that mess out. They ain't going to tell you. Get out of your false phony religions and quit having onion skin and being so sensitive because I don't like the way that he talks. Well, I don't like the way you listen. It makes no difference to me. But we're going to find out. All of us going to test that boast whether we like it or not. We're going to find out who's been telling you the truth and who hasn't. And that's the problem with this country. We've been feminized. That's the problem. We are just too effeminate, especially the men. We're too effeminate. It's bad. It's a sad, sad thing. So get out of the city. Stop watching this stupid TV. You better just stop watching that. Start growing your own garden and get around, more than anything, get around people who are sincere, serious-minded, and faith-based of the Most High Yah. I mean, you're going to need to do that. I know what Pat died. I don't like it. Irrelevant. Irrelevant, because you can barely even trust yourself. You can't even trust your neighbor living next to you. Oh, then I said something to change your mind. And one way you practice civil disobedience in this environment is go out and buy you some real money, kasef, silver. Been that way for 6,000 years. And that's the truth. And that is the truth, straight way.